Should teachers be allowed to carry guns in schools? A TED Talk by Cadence Gilland. Imagine, you're a kindergarten teacher reading your class a book. Then all of a sudden, you hear a big boom. A few more booms go off, then you get up, guide your students to their hiding spots, and grab your gun to assess the situation. The children are crying, gunshots are going off, there are teachers screaming, you're overstimulated and in immense fear. Someone's banging on the door, your head is spinning, and all you're thinking about is protecting the children. The door swings open and you shoot. And suddenly you feel deep pain in your chest. You've been shot. It was a cop trying to get in to assess the class. Because you were so distraught, your students watched you lose your life. The truth is, if you live in America, you know the problems schools face with school shootings. Hundreds of children and teachers have lost their lives due to gun violence within the schools. In fact, firearm-related deaths are the leading cause of death in our U.S. children. Firearms alone cause 40,000 deaths annually in the U.S., claims ROC 2023. There have been 2,057 school shootings since 1970. In 2022 alone, school shootings claimed the life of 50 students. And the most common age of a school shooter is just 17, says ROC in 2023. So, the questions stand. Should teachers be able to carry guns? Would that be a solution to this terrible problem? So, how bad are school shootings? According to John Woodrow, the federal government doesn't even track school shootings. Therefore, we have to rely on the Washington Post for most stats. In 1999, there was a massive tragedy in America that we can never let go within the school system. I'm sure you've heard of it, Columbine. In April of 1999, 2 students were on a shooting spree within the school. The 2 together killed 13 people, teachers, and students, and wounded 20 others, then proceeded to kill themselves. Little did we know, Columbine had just set up America for the tragedy of the beginning of school shootings. If you look up school shootings in the U.S., you'll find a website with about 78 pages of information on school shootings. Enough is enough. So how do we stop gun violence within the schools? Some people say just don't give kids access to guns. See, it's not as easy as that, because if a student wants something bad enough, they will get it. People say you need a solid ID, you need to be 21. Those things are often said when it comes to keeping guns from students because they themselves can't buy it. But we live in an unfortunate world here in 2023. Many parents have guns on their bedside table, giving clear access to their children, even though they may have no intention at all for their children to have the gun. So this raises the question, should our teachers be carrying guns? States all around the United States are wrestling with the idea of allowing schools to have the choice on what safety methods they would like to enforce. Last fall, Lawrence County, Georgia became the first state in the U.S. to issue guns to their teachers and staff. So, how does this work? In this case, the school had many conferences inviting the community and parents in to weigh in their opinions. Parents and school safety experts believe that it makes schools safer. I came to the conclusion that the best way to preserve the safety of all staff and students and prevent the loss of life was to arm some of the school personnel, said Dan Brand, Lawrence superintendent. All the staff were transported to a shooting range and trained with many deputies. This is how it worked. There would be meetings, trainings, and more. It seems ethical and smart, right? While it could be good in the event of an active shooter, guns just don't belong in schools. How would you feel sitting in class knowing that your teacher has a weapon in their waistband? The weapon is contained in the holster on the waist, and just at any moment, a student could attack the teacher and obtain the gun. First of all, this brings much anxiety to students in the classroom. Myself, I couldn't imagine sitting in a classroom taking a math test, knowing my teacher has a gun. The level of anxiety I would have is beyond obtainable. I just can't imagine that. And then another factor onto this, why teachers shouldn't carry guns. Imagine students getting mad at the teacher having a bad day and mad at their classmates, anything. They could be like, oh, well, Miss Dunn won't fight back. She is older. They know it's on the teacher. So what are the odds that they won't beat that teacher up or wrestle the teacher down and get the gun and start a school shooting because of that? Now, of course, a student may not attack, but even myself, I remember in high school thinking, we don't have clear book bags, we don't get bags checked, and to walk into school, we just walk through a side door. There's no metal detector, no anything. So I was occasionally thinking, oh, well, what if the person next to me had a gun? Or what if there was a weapon in somebody's bag that nobody knew about because there wasn't proper security measurements? And so I just can't imagine going to school knowing there was guns in the school, knowing the students I went to school with and where they are now in life. It's crazy to me that some schools believe it's okay to have guns in their classrooms. The liability of teachers holding guns is not always good. Guns go off all the time, by accident, by mistake, and just by misfire. I mean, guns are not, guns on safety don't mean they're safe. To arm teachers, each teacher would need a gun holder, background checks, licensing, insurance, and regular training. This costs so much for schools, so why bother? So why are we focusing on providing guns instead of providing better safety? In March of 2023, a woman killed 3 students and 3 staff members before being shot by police, says Hansen. So how did this gunman get into the school? She shot through the glass doors and walked right in. Easy as can be. So again, why are we arming teachers instead of making our schools more unattainable? Basic security measures would work to prevent unauthorized access into school buildings, interior door locks, and more. And even bulletproof glass would be the start of it. And it's expensive, but it's worth it. So what do? Simple. We don't arm teachers with guns. School shootings are so unfortunately common in the United States. But how are we going to stop that? I promise you that arming teachers and staff with firearms is not the answer. It's expensive, a large liability, and hinders learning. We want our kids to be safe and learning in our schools. Giving teachers guns will not help with that. Guns can be helpful in the case of stopping an active shooter before the cops respond, but overall, guns in teachers' waistbands are not the answer to this problem. Thank you.